Volvo, protecting the planet is just as important to us as protecting the people who share it.
Having environment as a core value, it is very important for Volvo cars to analyze the energy use when producing a car, when using a car, and when recycling a car.
The environmental strategy for Volvo is all under the umbrella name of Drivey. Drivey is simply the word drive, which means leading the way, taking a leadership, and that's exactly what we want to do at Volvo. This program we've launched 1 year ago, and it is the umbrella name for all our initiatives related to environment. And we've built it on 3 pillars. The first one being motion, and it's all about our powertrains, our engines. The second one is inside, and that's about the cockpit, the air in the cabin, the purity of the air in the cabin. And the last one, we call it life cycle. We want to make sure that our cars have the least possible impact on the environment.
The environment is really important to Swedes, and at Volvo we take this seriously as well. It's the honesty of our materials and the way that we produce the interiors and the air that we breathe inside our cars. It's not only about the details that you can see that make our interiors luxury, it's some of the details that you can't see. If you take, for example, the leather, we take the chrome out of the dyeing process, so it's not environmentally damaging. And one of the biggest allergies inside a car can be nickel from metals, so we take the nickel out of the brightwork inside the cars. Also, the air that you breathe is important to us as well. We have an IAQS system, which is an air quality system to bring new and fresh air inside the cabin without having dust and pollen. And we're also eco-certified. We are the first car manufacturer actually to be eco-certified against allergies inside a car.
The Volvo cars being scrapped today are 85% recyclable. But in the cars currently being designed and built, an even greater amount is recyclable, at least 95%.
One way of doing this is choosing materials, and we mark the plastics with what kind of plastic it is, and we also minimize the use of heavy metals. After some hazardous materials are removed, the car is cut into pieces, and some material goes to recycling. That's the major part. We also remove some parts that we remanufacture and put into an exchange system for spare parts.
Actually, we were very proactive 30 years ago when our CEO at the time in a UN conference in Stockholm stood up and said, "Our cars produce pollution, noise and waste." At the time, I think people reflected about what is this CEO doing? We are selling cars and he's saying that they have an impact on the environment.
This bold statement really marked the beginning of Volvo's environmental work. Even though the car company is known around the globe for its safety innovations, it also boasts a couple of environmental world firsts.
We could say that there's a bit of a Volvo in every car, not only because of the 3-point seatbelt that everybody knows about, but also because of this exhaust emissions technology. We introduced new technology in the 1970s, which was a 3-way catalytic converter with a lambda sensor. It was an innovative technology that at the time reduced emissions with about 85%.
Volvo's plant in Gothenburg, Sweden, was also named the cleanest factory in the automotive industry in the early 90s. Environment today has an entirely different meaning than it did in those days.
Before, we used to concentrate on what had an effect at local level. We emphasized emissions that were hazardous to health or to the environment very close to our production plants. Today, environment is much more about carbon dioxide, emissions that might come out on the other side of the planet, but we feel the effects here or the other way around.
Volvo Cars will invest 1.2 billion euros over the next 5 years in environmental technology, much of that in hybrid development.
These new desirable technologies were just researchers' dreams, but now with the oil prices and the climate concerns all over the world, the industry is growing rapidly, and that gives hope for the future.
And for Volvo Cars, the future is electric.
We will start with introducing hybrids that we know of today, going over to full hybrids where you have an electric motor that is assisting the combustion engine. After that, we will turn it the other way around, and we will have an electric car which is supported by a combustion engine. We have a test car, a concept car within Volvo that we are now doing tests on. I was driving it last Friday and it's really fun to drive.
This plug-in cuts carbon dioxide emissions by 65% compared to the hybrids on the market today.
One of the advantages with electric hybrid vehicles is that they will be fairly smooth to introduce. No large investments in filling stations or special distribution system because the electricity grid is here already.
We are supplying the technology. We will produce the test cars that will be used in society for this field test.
And we are mainly supporting by funding, but we are also involved in research, education in vehicle engineering, and we hope that we will manage to be a country where industries from all over the world who are interested in taking part in developing these vehicles will invest and test their new technologies. So if you want to go renewable, sustainable, it is easier to do with electric systems rather than with fuel systems.
I think the Scandinavian aspect of our company says a lot about how we look upon nature. Nature gives us our ability to enjoy our products, our cars, to drive in very nice environments. But in order to be able to do that and in order to have a license to operate, we must take care of our environment.
With the right people focused on the right solutions, who knows what we can accomplish?